So Malta and Gozo's political scene right now is, well... Let's call it eventful, shall we? And unless it escaped your notice, there's also an EU election coming up this week, which is why it's super important for you to know who you're voting for. You do know who you're voting for, right? So at this point, you might be wondering, why is the bisexual talking about politics? First of all, I know things. Secondly, Hot Take is a show about climate change. And this may be news to you, but climate change is a big deal. So big, in fact, that it's considered to be one of the primary concerns by youth across the EU, including Malta and Gozo. Youth in the EU comprise roughly 1 in 5 people. That's 20% for my fellow nerds, and yet only 3 MEPs are under the age of 30. That is 0.4% of the 705 MEPs from across the EU. And we young people have the right to be heard. I know I'm 31. These concerns are in turn reflected in the youth goals, which were formulated during the 6th cycle of the EU Youth Dialogue. When it comes to climate change, chief among these goals are Youth Goal 5, Mental Health and Wellbeing, and Youth Goal 10, A Sustainable Europe. But Malta's not the EU, we're different. I'm not even going to shut this down. I'm going to yes and it. Yes, we are. Along with Cyprus and Ireland, we are one of the few insular member states of the European Union. And as an archipelago, our voice carries weight when it comes to discussions of climate change. And thus, we have a responsibility to be present, represented with evidence-based findings, and to have our opinions heard on the matter. In fact, a 2024 survey by the National Youth Council of Malta found that 82% of youths consider climate change to be a top priority, while 62% believe that the EU can be doing more to combat it. And you can look to headlines from all over the EU to see these sentiments echoed by youth across the board. So, ahead of the upcoming EU election, how can you vote for someone who's climate conscious? First of all, read up on candidate and party manifestos. Look out for priorities related to the climate, the environment, and sustainability. Bonus points if they're intersectional. Secondly, analyze past voting patterns. As the old adage goes, actions speak louder than words. And finally, if you're still super confused, there's apparently an app. Columba app was created by an EU non-profit, founded by young people from across the union, and they had a hand in creating this non-partisan app that lets you find out which EU candidates align most with your priorities. Plus, the mascot is like the super cute pigeon, like how can you not use it? As citizens of Malta and Gozo, we are one of only 4 member states with vote 16. And that privilege is not one that we can take lightly. So whether you're in Malta or elsewhere in the EU, or in front of the European Parliament, remember to check your member state's voting days between the 6th and the 9th of June. Do your research, and for the love of my own sanity, use your vote. Seriously though, can we talk about this cute ass pigeon though?